Hello. So it's been a while since I have been on social media in any kind of way. Used to, I would post a lot of pictures and whatever I was up to, but the last couple of years I have kind of started a new journey. If you're seeing this video, it's because we're already friends in some capacity on my Instagram or my Facebook or in real life or whatever the case might be. You might have noticed that I am changing the name of my Instagram account from Car Seat Mary to Call Me Marnie. And of course, there's a story behind that. And so I wanted to take a little minute and kind of share with you what my journey has been about the last couple of years. I have been intentionally working on some of the things in my life that really weren't going so well based on just growing up, just being alive. There are some traits that people will adopt from their parents or lifestyle or whatever's going on with them in order to kind of be in what I call survival mode. You know, I was a young mom and single for a lot of that journey. And then when I wasn't single, I was in some pretty unhealthy relationships. And so that has an effect not only on your children, but of course you, and many years after you've changed the situation or left a relationship, a job, a marriage, or whatever it is, you know, you start making some changes, but the residual portions kind of stay with you. And so for me, that manifested in codependency, some types of traits that were not really best for me. I was kind of a people pleaser. You know, I called it, I'm part of the team and I'd work really hard and do things. But a lot of times that kind of behavior comes at the expense of yourself and your kind of your well-being, honestly. And so while you believe you have decent and good reasons, at the end of the day, it starts to create some resentments because you feel like you're not really being heard and able to express your truth to somebody else. And so for me, over all of these decades of years, you know, I pretty much can get along with most people in most situations. And that comes from being sort of this person that was kind of a chameleon growing up. So I grew up with a very alcoholic mom, and she was a single mom most of the time, had multiple different husbands along the journey of my upbringing. So my caregivers had carried shame and generational trauma through. And so, of course, I would happily pick that up, not knowing any different really, because most of us really don't know any different. And so that kind of creates this pattern and this situation. And so I've just really been taking accountability of that for these last couple of years since we had the big disruptor of the COVID shutdown, and we were kind of forced to slow down and take a breath and think about, what am I doing? What's going on? Like, I am not necessarily having to continue on with ways that don't serve me anymore. And so any of you that know me know that my career at the time, and I still teach car seat safety. I'm always going to do that because I'm really good at it. I enjoy it, and I really love helping people. And that is a really good way to help people feel confident in the scariest job of your life, which is parenting and keeping children alive. So I'm probably always going to do that. But what I noticed is the reason that I was so good and Car Seat Mary became such a thing and so popular among families and caregivers and you know, even manufacturers and in that industry was because I put every bit of effort I had into feeling like that is what made me worthy. That people would respect me and they would value me and appreciate me because I had something to offer, because I never really felt like as a child or a wife or a mom or whatever that I was valuable. You're told these certain things over the course of your life, and sometimes you believe them, and sometimes you're not even told that, and you just believe a certain way about yourself. And so for me, I put so much effort. And the other thing, it's really easy to avoid dealing with things that are hard and uncomfortable or you don't know how to deal with. We just kind of push them down and we stay in survival mode. We stay in, we stay in a way of being that's probably uncomfortable for us, but it's more comfortable than the unknown or dealing with some trauma and some hurt and stuff like that. So to me, it was a really long pattern. And if anything, the death of my dad recently, that was right before COVID started, was really a big catalyst in forcing me to put aside what I thought was important, my job or helping people or making whatever amount of money I was making. And the reality of it was he was coming to the end of his life and he couldn't do things for himself and he needed me to take care of him. And so as a person who has always been very independent, probably too independent for my own good most of the time, you become needless and wantless. You don't need anybody for anything. You don't want anything. You don't feel like your voice is going to be heard. So you just kind of carry through and do whatever. And then resentment starts building up. So he was a very strong, also independent person, very quiet, was working when he was 12 years old, didn't need much from anybody. And so watching him become very small and frail and vulnerable and really needing somebody but not understanding how to ask for help or not feeling comfortable asking for help kind of was like a giant mirror in my face. It was a glaring reality of how I am. I'm very much that way. I would rather be destitute and going without than tell someone, hey, you know what, I need help, because I felt like my mental health or my ability to be a functioning adult or someone that someone could respect or be proud of, that I couldn't admit that I struggle with depression or I struggle with alcoholism or some of these things that I've really made judgments on other people because I was ashamed of it in myself. And I realized that I don't really need approval from all the people or all the situations. And I definitely don't have to hold myself to these standards that are unrealistic. Quite honestly, they're not life-giving sometimes. And getting out of the hamster wheel of the day-to-day routine of working to pay for things that you probably don't need anyway, and just putting all the important things off to the side. Your family, your loved ones, going and doing things that make you feel like you're balanced in your life. And so that's what started the journey for me. I decided that I had to be okay with the fact that I couldn't leave my house because nobody else could leave their house. I had to be okay with that. I didn't know how I was going to pay for anything because most people were trying to figure it out. And I just had to be okay that if I have a faith in something bigger than myself, which I do, I had to trust that everything was going to work out, even though I couldn't control it. I couldn't figure out how it was supposed to go. I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. And I was grieving for the loss of a parent because he died right after. I had a husband in a different state who had his own struggles and his own things he had to work on. I was here by myself in a pandemic with, quite honestly, the whole world in a big state of fear. And that's when you realize that you have to literally surrender and give over the control of, because you can't control it anyway. Really, what can you control? You can control how you react to something, how you respond to something, but you can't control anything. You can't control other people. And you can't control what's going on around you. Now, can you create situations for yourself? Totally. You totally can. I really am under the belief that our actions and things that we do create our reality. The way we look at things and the way we believe things also plays a big role. And so for me, I was having to unlearn decades of misinformation, not only from my caregivers, but from the world, the community, the government, schools, institutions that we believe are set up for our best interest, when the reality of it is, if you're not looking out for your own best interest, I can promise you that nobody else is looking out for it either. If we've learned anything during all of this pandemic stuff and the aftermath, is that everybody has a different agenda. You know, everybody has a different opinion. Everyone has a different idea, a different belief, and a different concept. And that's okay. And where problems start arising is when people stop showing respect to the other person or respecting themselves. And that's where the problem really starts. So really, that's when Mary decided to dig into what's going on with Mary. I can't be responsible for what's going on with everybody else. And as a mom and a codependent type person, boy, I spent a lot of years really trying to be in charge of all that stuff, take care of everything, fix it, be a people pleaser, make all the situations okay. Because when you grow up with an alcoholic mom who has a personality disorder, I can assure you that you have to morph into whoever you need to be at that moment just to keep the peace or keep things in a calm state. And so I was hardwired to do that from a little person, which is what makes me good in retail sales, makes me good in communicating with people. But it also makes me not want to speak up when I have something to say that might be uncomfortable for somebody. Or it might make me not want to really be honest with myself about me not taking accountability for the role that I might play in something, someone else's life path, or, you know, even one of the really hard ones is knowing that I was the best mom I could be. I could have done things better, but I did a really good job. I mean, my kids are amazing. But the reality of it is some of that carried shame that I brought from that childhood that I had, that was a survival technique, actually was sort of harmful to my children. And that was not intentionally, that was just how it went, which has also brought me some peace and forgiveness towards my own mom, because I have to really realize that she didn't mean to do it either. She had a mental illness. She had an addiction problem. She had a really horrible childhood and just wanted somebody to love her. And she looked in all the wrong places. She learned a lot of valuable lessons. And you know what? I learned a lot of valuable lessons. But it's time now. You know, I'm in my 50s. And I don't have anybody responsible for. I don't have to, you know, my children are all grown and they are self-sustaining, amazing adults that contribute to society in amazing ways. So now the only person left is me. And so that's where I've been the last couple of years, looking for the authentic version of myself and just really being okay with putting it out there. And so the story on why I'm changing my Instagram name to Call Me Marnie, which, by the way, don't actually call me Marnie, you still call me Mary. That's my name. But Marnie was a childhood name. So I was named after my aunt, whose name is also Mary, and my name is Mary Catherine. And so when I was born, my cousin Jeanette, who's a little bit older than me, couldn't say Mary Catherine, she'd say Marnie Kathy. And so they're like, oh, that's cute, Marnie's cute, let's call her Marnie. So my family has always called me Marnie. My mom has always called me Marnie. And for some reason, and it's not a bad name, it's a pretty cute name, but I really always felt like if you're going to name someone something, maybe call them that. But right from the very beginning, it's like this alter identity or this alter ego that was created in me. Like, outsiders called me one thing, insiders called me this, and I was never really comfortable being called Marnie, because I think it was a trigger for when I was small. My mom is, bless her soul, she passed away in 2009, but she was from upstate New York, very blunt, in your face, just kind of raw. And she would say, Marnie, damn it. Marnie, damn it. Like, so much so when I was little, someone asked me at a party what my name was. And guess what my answer was? Yeah, it was Marnie, damn it. My mom was so embarrassed. I didn't know any different. I mean, that's what she called me all the time. I thought that was my name. And so I think as I got older, and my name is spelled Mary with an I, so everybody mispronounces it. Mari, Marie, whatever. So now I have a name that sometimes people don't call me. And then when they do, it's mispronounced. And then, whatever. So my identity has been a problem for a long time. So the reason that I am deciding, like, oh, call me Marnie is a little tagline for something is, and honestly, it doesn't matter. If you want to call me Marnie, that's fine. If you want to call me Mary, that's fine, because that's what you know me by. A couple of people call me Mom, because that's my other role. And the reality of it is I'm just trying to get comfortable with all the many different aspects of my life. And my childhood was quite rough. And finding some peace with that and being okay with, like, hey, you know what? That's not a trigger for me. It's a cute name. It's a cute nickname. A lot of people know me by that in my family. My big sister Stephanie still calls me that. My aunt, my cousins, they just do. So this is just part of my journey. And so me deciding to share that with other people is also part of the healing. And if you find anything that you connect to with the words that I say, like, that's just part of us being human and connecting and feeling like, we do have worth and we don't have to do anything for it. We are inherently worthy, just our true essence and nature. And so at the end of the day, by me being brave enough to really share my story and come on and talk authentically with others, I've learned so much about myself. And so as I'm preparing to re-release my book that I released back in 2011, I'm redoing it because I really have always wanted to be a Hay House publisher. And so I am publishing under Balboa Press, which is the umbrella of the Hay House. And I've made some changes. It's getting a new cover. I'm changing my name. Went through and did all the edits. For those of you that noticed it, no, I'm not perfect. And it got through the editing process and it had errors. Bottom line is addressing all of that stuff. Instead of me being proud of myself for writing a book, which is not easy, by the way, if any of you've written it, you know what I mean. It's like birthing a baby that you put your guts and soul out and you're so terrified of being judged. You put it out there and then guess what? There were errors. And you know what? I was so ashamed of the errors that I couldn't even find the joy in the fact that I was brave enough to actually write one. And you know what? I read it and it's really good. Like, it's channeled from my higher version of myself, who's really much smarter than this Mary right here. And it is so good. And I thought, you know what? God gifted me with the talent of that and to put that out there. And if it only helps one or two people, and it's been out for a while, the old one is still available online, but it helped a few people. I met people that were like, you know what? I really got a lot from that. And why is it that I would remember only the negative things people would say and not focus on the amazing things that people would say? Interesting, right? We do that as humans. So anyway, I just wanted to hop on here and kind of give you an insight of what's going on with me. And I'll be getting on here a little bit more often. And so I would love to hear from you. Send me a message. I've got a lot more free time in my life now because I'm scheduling and redoing things a different way. I am still checking car seats. I do have a new business that Nick and I are doing that's a lot of fun. And it's been very exciting connecting with people because we offer some products that are really, really amazing and helpful in the journey of kind of getting healthy and whole. So anyway, thanks for listening and have an awesome day. And remember that you're amazing. You don't have to prove to anybody else you're amazing. You just have to prove and believe it in yourself. That's all. Just believe it. Start with that. Anyway, have a good one. Bye.